Hey guys, welcome to Tuesdays with Carly on LGBT advice. I have no fucking idea what week it is. We kind of lost track. Sorry. So we have 4 lovely questions this week. We're back to normal with me. Yay! I'm in my new house and everything's perfect and set up, so thank you for bearing with me while I was moving and traveling and had all fucking chaos in my life. Yeah. Okay, questions for this week. Let's get her done. Question number 1. I'm currently a woman dating a man for 5 years, but I've always been attracted to girls and I feel like I need to explore that before I commit entirely to this man. The problem is that he's very depressed and suicidal and I don't know how to let him go without him losing his mind. I feel like a bad person, but I'm not being true to myself and it's tearing me apart. How do I break it to him without him being driven to suicide? Okay, this is really a tough situation for you, and I'm sorry that you're stuck in this kind of between a rock and a hard place. But above all, I think the number one thing of advice that I tell people, and with any situation, is that you need to be true to yourself. And by not exploring that, and if you feel like you're not being true to yourself, then you're never going to really be happy until you're true to yourself. I think probably you should sit him down and talk to him and just be really honest with him. Explain to him that you feel that this is a side of yourself that you need to explore before you can commit entirely to him. And make sure you give him resources that he can go to, because you don't want to, just cut him off and then leave him all on his own to kind of fight his own demons by himself. You want to be there to support him and make sure that he makes it through that. I'd say give him resources, look in your area for counselors or depression groups or anything like that, and make sure you give those to him so he feels that he's not all alone. I think that's a big problem that we all face when we face a breakup, is we feel like we're completely alone. And then maybe explain to him that you're still there for him. I don't know if you still plan on being in his life. He's not losing you entirely just because you feel like you have to explore this. Just sit him down and talk to him and be honest and express your fears. Express the fact that you're afraid for him and his own safety, and then just make sure he has a good support group to fall back on and that he has you to support him, and that, I think, will make the transition a lot easier for him if he feels like he's not losing you entirely and that this is just something that you need to do for yourself. Because we need to be our own first priority, or else you're not going to ever be happy. I've been there. I've made everyone else my priority, and it made me miserable. It made me so miserable, and for the first time, I'm making myself my first priority, and I'm so fucking happy. So hopefully you can find that same happiness with making yourself your priority. I wish the best of luck for you on that one, because that's a very, very hard situation to be in. Second question. Basically, I'm under house arrest for being gay. It was a huge turn of events that has made my life hard. But how do I tell people I'm under house arrest? I'm making new friends, and I don't know how to explain to them that I'm not avoiding them on purpose. I would just be honest. Just explain to them. And if you don't really want to play the gay card yet, like, woo, homo, you don't feel comfortable telling them that yet because they're newer friends, I'd say just be like, hey, I want you to know that I'm not avoiding you on purpose. I'm not making up excuses for why I can't hang out or do things. It's just I have a large problem with my parents and my family, and because of that, I am not able to go and hang out right now. I'm not able to go do stuff. I'm basically like grounded or under house arrest or however you want to put it. But as soon as this, dissipates, then I will be able to, and if I could, I would, stuff like that. But if you want to play the gay card, then be like, hey, I'm gay, my family doesn't like it, I'm basically under house arrest. A lot of people are really understanding, especially, I'm assuming that you're on the younger side, So a lot of your friends are going to understand, like everyone has tiffs with their parents, especially when they live with them and are still under their rules and stuff. So you just be like, hey, dude, like, I'm sorry, I've been fighting with my parents and blah, blah, blah. And because of that, and because we don't see eye to eye on some things, I am grounded and not allowed to go out and blah, blah, blah. I think your friends will understand, definitely. Third question. This girl that I really like, her mother found out that we were texting each other and that she was a lesbian because her mother looked through her text. Her mom is hardcore Christian. She got yelled at and it was super intense. I got really scared and worried, and I still am. Seems like it might escalate to be her being kicked out. She said she would run away to her friend's house, and I want to put up my house for her too. I'm supporting her as much as I can. I just wanted to know if there are any alternatives for her. There are tons of alternatives, especially if she lives in a big metropolitan area. I almost guarantee you that if she lives in a big city, there is at least one youth shelter geared towards gay and lesbian kids. They're at least kind of common in big areas. In smaller areas, it's a bit harder. I would suggest going and Googling your area, seeing if there's any kind of gay and lesbian center, and contacting them and talking to them, seeing what kind of resources they are familiar with, what kind of resources they have. Just Google is your best friend when it comes to this kind of shit, people. Google is a lifesaver. It loves the gays, and it has so much information out there about, services, programs, shelters, centers, everything like that. There's tons of resources out there. It's just you have to take the initiative to look for them. They're not going to come to you. You have to look for them. So get on Google, search your area, see what is available in your area, and see if there's even teen runaway shelters not geared towards gay and lesbian kids. I mean, there are shelters out there for runaways and youths who have problems with their families and stuff that are just geared toward kids and teens and youths and stuff like that, not specifically towards gays, lesbians, transgender, queer, all that kind of stuff. And those are just as good of a resource as a LGBTQ shelter is. You've just got to take what you can and run with it. There's tons of resources out there. Go, make Google your best friend, and figure out what is in your area. And final question. I had a debate with my parents on how love is love, no matter if they are gay or straight. But my stepfather said it's like a teen girl loving an adult male or vice versa. That seems like a valid argument, because if I say love is love, that makes his argument valid. Can you help me with this argument? All right. So I'm kind of excited about this question. As some of you know, I'm a psych minor, and so I've obviously taken a good amount of classes on the brain, cognition, brain development, stuff like that. So I can tell you from the scientific side that that's completely not valid. But I'm going to try and put it in as layman's terms as I can, because I realize not all of you have taken a massive amount of psych classes and understand terms when it comes to the brain that psych majors and stuff do. So basically, your brain is cut up into different sections, right? Here's your brain. And there's tons of different sections within your brain. Right here is your frontal cortex, your frontal lobe. And basically, it does all of your reasoning, all of your rationale, all of your decision making. Everything like that is right here. Right here in your brain. And that part of your brain doesn't develop completely until you're around 21. So, this is why we say, taking on my other major, criminal justice, this is why we don't charge children the same way we charge adults. Because that kind of rationale and decision making isn't fully developed as a child. Say it's, like you said, a teen girl, say she's 14, and we have an adult male who's in his 30s. That is called pedophilia for a reason. Because essentially, this child does not have the rationale or the decision making to understand what she's really doing, and to understand how her decisions are affecting her life and blah blah blah. Or if it was a young male, or whatever. I'm just saying, as a child, until you're around 21 18, 21, 22, around that age, you honestly do not understand and do not have the same cognitive ability that an adult has. Simple as that. An adult and an adult of the same sex, they have the same cognition, they have the same reasoning, they have the same developmental status. You know, it's different. A child does not have that same type of cognitive reasoning that an adult has. It's science. It's fact. I hope this is making sense and I'm not just sounding like a fucking idiot. But it's entirely different because of the development of your brain, essentially, is what you could say. You could say a child's brain is not developed the same way as an adult's brain, so that adult is seen as taking advantage of that child. When you have two adults who are consenting adults who have the cognitive ability to consent and they're of the same sex, that's completely different because they are of consenting age. They have the cognitive ability to consent. They have the reasoning. They have their frontal lobe, their frontal cortex is completely developed. And so they know what they're doing, whereas a child just simply does not. I was trying to make a really good thing to make me not sound like I was an adult, so I'm pompous and I know about fucking everything. I mean, I'm not. I don't think that. But scientifically speaking, a 14-year-old girl's brain is different than a 22-year-old girl's brain. That's science. That's fact. Just like a 12-year-old boy's brain is different than a 22-year-old boy's brain. Science and fact. They don't understand what they're doing, and that's that. Just hit them with the science. I mean, if you want to research this yourself, go for it. I mean, go to the library and check out a book on the development of the brain and your frontal lobe and all that kind of stuff. And so you can back what you're saying up with science and be like, look it, bro, I know what I'm fucking talking about. Do the research. It's really interesting shit anyways. But yeah, it's completely different, and it has been described. I mean, not described, but compared over the years. A lot of they call them child love groups, which are essentially groups of pedophiles, compare homosexuality to pedophilia, and it's completely different, and it's insulting as a lesbian to compare me to a pedophile. So wrong. The most ridiculous fucking argument in the world. Not that I feel passionately about it or anything. Go do the research yourself and see for yourself, so you can back it up with science. So those are the questions for this week. As usual, subscribe, send us questions. Yeah. Hope to see you guys next week. Hope you liked my video. Bye. My name is Bug. I like to try and cuddle with my mom's face at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. Every single night. And my mom fucking hates it. Yay! Let's fucking redo that. So.